So I know it's cold, but I've only been outside the whole night, but I know it's cold. That's cool. Uphill both ways, 100 degrees by noon with 10 inches of snow. That's fine. All right, it's cool. But what we can do, what I've been doing for the good folks, is doing a little sideshow out here. As they're looming around, apprehensive about what's going to happen in there, they start off sometimes over here. And I start off with somebody that's not generally stuffing their face with pizza. So let's see who is not actually actively doing so at the moment. We are going to, let's see. Yes. Yeah, come on up. Nope, no, you're doing the literal thing I was talking about, which is shoving pizza in your face. Okay, so I would generally ask your name, which I know is Lauren, because everyone was named Lauren tonight. No, I'm kidding. You are Morgan. I want you to inspect this to make sure that it's a complete circle of loop, it's a complete circle of rope all the way around, that there's no trapdoors, no smoke, no mirrors, no lasers, no separation, and that doesn't unscrew or come apart in any way. Cool. No. All right, so here's what's going to happen. You know when you're a little kid, right, that like you have no secrets, right? All of a sudden it's like, look, it's a bird. Oh, look, my socks don't match. My teeth hurt. My parents made a bunch of noises last night. Now I didn't sleep well. Like, whatever. It's like, yeah, like, you know, to each their own, right? I mean, good for them, right? But the problem is that we just experience and then we like, and it's right back out. But as we start to get older, we start realizing like maybe some secrets are better kept internally. So then we enter in what we have trust circles. People you can trust to tell things to and others you cannot. So if you were to hold this right here, we're going to enter into a trust circle. And it's a 3-step exercise. Step 1, we're already in it. And the only instruction I have, do not let me fall. You're already doing it, right? I'm leaning back, you can feel it. And like, it's kind of like, we're in this sort of cool balance right now. Now, good, step 1 complete. Step 2, let go for a second. We end up having bigger secrets, but yet we trust a smaller group of people as we get older. So a lot more is riding on that trust circle. Yeah, I know. Just think how it is on this side. Now, as I lean back, you're going to see that it's actually digging into my neck, and now I do not have the luxury of the table over there where people check in, so I can say when you break the sideshow performer, you can just deposit it over there and then they can fix it, because that's not where we're at right now. But you can see that my voice is starting to strain a little bit and that I'm getting a little, okay, we're good. Step 2 is complete, right? Now, Morgan, this is very important. As we get further along in life, we have our ride or die friends, the people that we can count on by all stretch of the imagination. When you call up and say, yeah, I got another body, they're not going to say, what did you do? They're going to say, wait, do you still have some of the plastic we used last time, or should I get some on the way, right? You've got really close friends. Now, as what happens, like at this point, we're almost going steady. We're so close. This is such a tight trust circle. But again, if I'm putting my life in someone's hands, I usually make sure I have myself an out, because I don't want to get choked out. So, have you used a zip tie before?
No.
Are you lying to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Good thing you were in the trust circle, because I would have messed it all up, right? All right. Now, have you used this professionally or personally? Don't answer that. Again, you weren't in the trust circle. That's not information for me, all right? So what I want you to do is I want you to tighten this around my thumbs as tightly as it'll go, and maybe put the buckle so that it's in the middle so you can get a little bit more leverage. You know what I mean? Keep going. There you go. All the way in like so. All right. So here's what's going to happen. You can go a little bit tighter. Just a little, 2 more clicks. There we go. Okay, cool. So you can see the distortion in my thumbs, and you can see that it is pretty tight. Now, I've got a whole bunch of hungry, clearly eating pizza, but also hungry for work, will replace me unless it's this cold out type people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this, but I don't want them to see how I do it. Okay, so if you would take off my hat and put it over my hands, like so. Actually, I meant more horizontal. If you hold it like that, and if you... Maybe you were right the first time and like that. Well, then that's for you, and I've already been out of that for a while. All right, so there's that. Now, thank you. Hold on, I didn't get the luxury pizza, so I gotta. What? It's a golf tee and a thing of glue. You guys are crazy. I wouldn't do that to myself. All right, now, when I was a young lad, my parents could fix anything. Like they, if it would break, the lamp would stop working, they'd take it downstairs and they'd fix it, right? Or like, we need shelves, and all of a sudden we'd have shelves. And so at some point, I wanted to be a part of this because like kids love helping their parents out. And they're like, all right, Todd, go get a wrench. And I was like, and I'd come back and I'd hand them this tool and they were like, that's a screwdriver. So the next year I got smarter and they said, all right, Todd, go get a wrench. And I started to go and I stopped and I turned around and I looked at them and I said, do you mean adjustable wrench? Do you mean a box end wrench? Do you mean a crescent wrench? Do you mean a socket wrench? And if it's a socket wrench, is it American Standard or metric? And what size socket do you need? Or is it a pipe fitting wrench or an oil filter wrench because you're replacing the oil in the car? Thank you all. And they were like, they were shocked. And yet they were thrilled because it was time. And they, with tears running down their cheeks, they were so proud and they handed me this, my very own set of tools, right? And inside, albeit wildly irresponsible, was a hammer, a nail, and an awl, right? Stabby, pokey, hammery things. But then it occurred to me, they said, Hot Todd Lincoln, which is in fact my name, they said, if you can swing a hammer, then you'll always have a job. Makes sense, right? And those of us here in the haunt who like, or involved in making of things or building of things or working on things know this to be true. But let's just say we've all made life decisions to end up here as I'm in makeup looking at a bunch of people in makeup standing in the cold watching me do dumb stuff to myself. We've made some similar life decisions, right? So I'll just skip right to it where, yeah, this is my job and I just swung a hammer. So my parents were absolutely correct. And as I bring it back out, I realize, wait, is that blood? No, it's not, it's fine. My parents also told me that you need to clean your tools every time because that's what makes a true craftsman. Now, I bet you're hoping you'd seen it all. Enjoy your pizza. I need someone tall in an apron if they could at the moment. I love the fact that I can blurt that out and it's actually going to happen right now. All right, so, right. So given your height, something that we've discussed as I've written an email and sent it through the ether and you can grab it when it gets up there. If you would just hold your hand up like this, we're going to freak everyone out. Now, there's an old Latin saying, which I can't remember exactly, but it roughly translates to, don't push because that would be a dick move, okay?
Fair enough.
I don't know exactly the Latin phrase, but the translation's really the important thing. Right, yeah, it's been passed down. And right, so what's going to happen though is that we're going to try to freak out everyone who's made it a business of freaking out others. As I ease myself back off of this and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And yeah, I saw some people doing what I would like to, okay, I'm gonna slide this back off and do all the work again. Okay, here we go. Thank you very much. I saw people giving me what I like to refer to as a fleeing ovation, so thank you for that. Now, this is the thing that almost went horribly weird with the last bus group. It's a classic, really. In fact, we all have this device in our home. It is your common mousetrap. And I had to assure the audience that something that happened was like, baby, it's never happened before because the mousetrap went off prematurely. It sounds funny, but no, it actually happened. It was like, it was really very scary. And then somebody jumped ahead. They're like, oh, you're gonna put that on your tongue. And I was like, thank you, Mr. Last Page Mystery Reader, then Tweeter, spoiler alert guy. Because what we're gonna try to do here is something ridiculously stupid that I'm gonna do to myself. Wow, no one's gonna say stop. Oh shit, all right. No laughing. Thank you very much. There's something else that there are some feats of strength that I've been working on. One of which involves a weighted axe, right? Now I need you, now that this is not oh my God, I can't believe I'm eating and watching this thing, make sure that this is in fact weighted and it has some heft to it.
Yeah.
What I also liked was the falling applause where someone, or like a scent, right? Where someone's like, oh, okay, earlier on the haunt, after a couple beers. But this is in fact a weighted axe. And what would happen is the guys of the big top would get they would set up the tent, right? Get it all together, and then they wouldn't have as much to do because all the work had been done. But so what they would do is they would cut up jackpots. They would brag about things they'd done. They'd drink a lot of whiskey, and they'd make a lot of claims. One of which, a guy said he could take a weighted axe, bring it all the way down to his face and all the way back up without bending his elbow. And it looked something like this. I know, I was stunned the first time I saw it too. I didn't say a word. Cool, but yes, no, in fact, I just did bring this down and booped my nose with an axe, which is not an expression I thought I'd ever use, but here we are. But here's the other thing. You know how in the haunt, right, or moving around, like you see things that all of a sudden look like something else and you can't quite see it the same way, like that hole in the wall all of a sudden is a face, or like even driving in the streets, sometimes you see a house, 2 windows, a vent and a door, and lo and behold, that looks like a face, and every time you drive by now, it's like, hi, face house, that's what's going on, right? So, ooh. Ta-da! Okay. So what ends up happening though is I looked at this one day and I took a really strong look at it and I was like, looks like a duck. Quack, 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 quack. It looks like a duck. And I thought, other than being sound advice for this kind of act, is duck would be a good verb, but I realized that if I were to perish doing this, I mean, it took a little the edge off the like strength of it, right? I mean, strength doesn't have a gender. Strength is strength all across the spectrum, you know? But what was interesting is now that I see this as a duck, it's hard to be like, whoa, because it's like, whoa, duck, oh, right? It's like, it takes a little something off of that. But I realized the worst part of that, if I perished doing this act, it wouldn't just be an accident, right? Or cause of a splitting headache in the sideshow performer, but it could be considered foul play. Because it's a duck. Now, the other strength act I will do for you, and it involves number 8, 300-pound test jack chain, which is a fancy way of saying is that the shit's kind of tough, all right? And what that means is that with 300-pound test jack chain, that you are able to hang something. If I were to hang something from this chain, it would take 300 pounds or more to make this chain fail, where the links would stop being integral and droop down and be done, right? So what would happen though, is I'm going to attempt to go from 0 to 300 just using the strength of my biceps. If I can get this going in the correct orientation, here we go. £300 jack chain. This, do we know what this is? It is almost 2019. This is just simply a jacket. And I will love it unconditionally, all right? Fine. Now, what's going to happen though is that I need a brave soul. If you would not mind strapping me into this jacket. Now, what's going to happen is that there are 3 straps on the back, and then there's a 4th strap that goes across the arms, which is like a special hug. But we'll start in the 3 in the back, and Angela will help you out here. Now, for you all, you are in the catbird seat because I will show you the only impression that I do. And I refer to it as every used car dealership in North America. Thank you. So, that being the case, what I ended up doing though, this is an interesting story, and it's a true Baltimore story. This jacket, I had purchased for a gig and was getting ready to use it, and I lived over in Remington. Any Remington dwellers? Okay. So in Remington though, apparently this jacket, it was sitting on my porch, and my buddy who was helping me move was like, hey man, I'm glad you grabbed that jacket so that you could use it. And I looked at him, my face went about as white as this material. And I said, I thought you grabbed it. And he was like, no. So we stopped, ran back over the house, and it was gone. Like nowhere to be found, G-O-N-E, gone. And we're like, dejected. But I did what one could and drove around. And like Forrest Gump, I actually saw it. And it was, I may have stopped the car, I don't know. It was just kind of like, oh, jacket, and the car just kept going, you know, kind of thing. But I went over and I picked it up, and I realized that somebody in Baltimore had basically grabbed this thing off my porch, walked along, they held it up once after a block or so, and they're like, yeah, no, not today, Satan, and they just left it there, right? Now, that being the case, they realized that they had let a crazy person loose in Baltimore, but actually possibly a crazier, more medicated, more handled crazy person, and because it is Baltimore, right? So there's that. Ooh, nice. Okay, not their first time. All right, so now what ends up happening though is that this jacket, because I was able to find it again, has become very near and dear, very near apparently. Now, there's a fifth strap.
Of course there is.
Under. Yep, and then under like this little metal bracket, and then yep, back under again. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's the way they would do it. All right, and then it gets locked into that one back there, and then you are all done. All right, thank you so much. No, don't trip on the way back there. We don't have the insurance for that. Okay. So now, what's going to happen is that I've been getting out of this jacket the whole time, and like, oh, it's kind of fun, let me get out of the jacket. But for y'all, I think I'm going to make it a challenge. In fact, I'm going to do my best. Does anyone have a smartphone that does not have their hand buried in their pockets, and if they were to take them out, would turn to ice? I just need someone with a timer. Oh, okay, great. So what's going to happen is I'm going to do my best to get out of this jacket in less than 1 minute. But I'm going to do one better. I'm not only going to get out in 1 minute, I'm going to do it blindfolded. Oh. Mormon tuberculosis choir. Oh. All right, fine. But what is going to happen though is I'm going to do it blindfolded. That's better. That's better. Now, what's going to happen though is that I'm going to do this on stage, which is not a big area. So you're keeping the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be facing away, and then as soon as I turn, blindfold on, turn to face everyone, then that's when it starts. And I'm going to do my best. And if you would shout out like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, kind of thing, that would be great. Okay.
1 minute.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. All right.
Wait.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Give me a 3, 2, 1, and then I'll do the thing.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Gotta know your limits. Okay.
Seconds.
30 seconds. Okay. Hey, it's what you're born with. Ta-da! Ta-da! And there you have it. That is what we've been doing out here with SIDESHOW. And for the men of a certain age in this audience, all right. If not, you'll understand it when you're older, or someone will explain it. Okay. Somebody asked me at one point, they said, "Hot Todd Lincoln," which is my name, "how did you end up walking on this much glass?" And so I decided to tell them the story of my life a bit and how I came to walk on this much glass. At some point I said, here's all this glass, but when it all started, it was just one pictures frame worth of glass. that I had dated this girl in my 20s and she was lovely, but she broke my heart. And so, in a fit of frustration one evening, I threw that frame on the ground and I stomped on it, right? Just stomped right on that glass. And it was weirdly cathartic. But then I was in my 20s, so I dated around a lot, which meant even more glass, right? So she was like, oh, that's terrible. And I said, I know, but it gets worse. That when I was in my 30s, I was actually married at some point, right? That didn't work out. So all the bridesmaids photos, all the groomsmen's photos, all the photos from the reception, all the engagement photos, all of that just was going on. And so then ultimately, when asked now, how did I learn to walk on this much glass? My real response is, I just walk on glass trying to feel anything. I guess it's better than jumping off a bridge. Didn't expect that twist. Or that one. There you go. Ta-da! Oh, this is really creepy. All right, this. One of the most dangerous tricks I own in the smallest amount of areas. In fact, I'll come around here to do it. This will be exciting. One of the biggest threats of working at the haunt as a sideshow performer was walking barefoot on this street. All right, so let's see. Here's what's gonna happen. All right, I'm gonna lay these 3 bits of spools out here.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna have you hold this, and then I'm gonna take out the thing that I'm gonna use here. What I've got here are 5 razor blades, okay? Now, set that right there, so it's for safekeeping. All right, so here's what's going to happen so that we can see what's going on here. I want you to just hold one side, all right? Just hold one side tight, all right? Because 1, I know, 2, 3, and let's flip it around because I'm getting nervous. There we go. 4 and 5. All right. So suitably sharp, judging by the reactions of folks around you. Right. Fine. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and put these away for the moment. And now what I need you to do is you can discard that piece of paper. I'll take care of that. That's fine. What we'll do, let's see. If I want you to pick 2 of the 3 spools of threads. Right? Red and white. All right, so we'll get rid of the black one altogether. Now, of those 2, I want you to pick 1. All right, well, that leaves me with white. Fair enough. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set this back down over here for a moment. I'm going to take a length of this thread, if I can find the end of it. There you are. I'm going to extend this out to about that far. Now here's a funny story. At some point I was like trying to, my hands were cold or something and I couldn't do this, and someone's like, you know, you got 5 razor blades. I was like, thank you. Yeah, I should have thought about that immediately, but here we are. So now here we take this thread and I bail it all up, right? Keep going. Other than the brick oven or Big Mama's soul food, this was how I sort of fed myself at times.
I don't know if I want to see this.
And then
What?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 razor blades, all threaded on that particular color thread that you ended up choosing.
So there we have it. And that, my friends, is how we do Sideshow at the Nevermore Haunt. Thank you.